Hi, I'm Matthew, otherwise known as M.R.Hall. This is my new book, The Burning, and you're watching Book Zone.
Matthew, thank you very much indeed for joining me. Your lead character is Bristol coroner Jenny Cooper. This is her 6th outing. What is The Burning about?
The Burning really is a very, I hope, quite a chilling story about a family that is destroyed in a fire. Jenny's called to the scene of a house fire that happens in a small village. A man in his 30s and his 2 teenage stepdaughters have died in it. The police look at it and find a message that the man has left on Facebook for his wife who has survived. And they quickly conclude that he was jealous of his wife having another relationship and that he annihilated his family. And therefore no criminal charges are going to be pressed, so the case is handed over to the coroner. Jenny looks at the case and then she starts to see connections with another crime which happened in that small community 10 years before. She digs further and she discovers something very unexpected, which of course I can't reveal.
Critics have praised your writing of strong female characters. Are you just a man in touch with your feminine side, or what's your secret?
I think that writing a female character allows me to get a bit of distance. When I first sat down to write a novel, I had no prejudice about male or female characters because I'd been writing purely for the screen for 10 years. You write men, you write women. And I had in mind a male character as a coroner, but when I sat down to write the first book, all of that changed literally at my desk on the first morning, and this female character sort of appeared fully formed.
It's interesting that you chose a coroner as your protagonist, not a policeman or a lawyer.
I started out life as a criminal barrister. Actually, I did not just crime, other types of law as well. But it took me occasionally to a coroner's court. And coroners are quite unique in our system in that they perform a sort of investigative role and a sort of judicial role. And their job is not to decide between competing cases, but they have to find out the truth. And they're the only official in our British system whose job is to find out the truth. We sometimes think the police have to find out the truth. They don't really. They have to prove a case against someone, which is something slightly different. And I thought it'd be really interesting to take a character who had to dig down to the truth where other officials, other agencies have failed or chosen not to look.
You mentioned that you practiced as a barrister. Here we are in the legal section of Blackwell's bookshop. But you also wrote TV series like Kavanagh, and now you produce Judge John Deed for the BBC. Were you inspired as a barrister turned writer by others such as John Mortimer?
I actually was, yes. I mean, what happened was I went into the law sort of as a rebellion against my family, who were writers and musicians, and to be honest, and they were quite alternative, I suppose, when I was growing up, and I associated all that creative life with something a bit chaotic. So I went off to be a lawyer, and it didn't take me many years to realise that it probably wasn't quite the right thing for me. But I was greatly inspired by, at the time, in the 90s, John Grisham, who had made that leap, in this country by John Mortimer, greatly, and also by Scott Turow, another great American lawyer turned writer. Of
course, you are a TV producer, so are we going to see her on TV?
I would like that to happen. I'm trying to persuade television that a coroner is a good character. They're still sort of tiptoeing around the edges of it. They've never seen a coroner on British TV, and we're very, very conservative. But
we had Quincy, the American one, back in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, the Americans don't have a problem. I'm actually currently talking to some Canadian television companies, so we might even succeed there before we succeed in the UK. But I think it will happen in due course.
Matthew Hall, thank you very much indeed for joining me.
Thank you.